Hey folks, Dave Parrish here at Knack Builders, and today I'm going to do the second installment of some quick tips. A few videos back I did 5 other ones, and I got 5 more for you today. I'll go through each one. It's not going to be a deep dive, but hopefully you'll find these useful. Thanks. Okay, Dave back here with 5 more quick tips. Just real quick, I'm going to address a little trick I do for uploading spreadsheets that you're trying to match connected records. When copying an app is good for testing things, how to get connected values to be native values in your object. That can be useful in a number of ways. I don't really like how Knack does their instructions on forms, and there's a little code you can do to change that. And sometimes you get this message that says something what's wrong, and it wants you to refresh the browser. You'll lose all your work. There's a way around that. So let's grab the first one, this importing. Here's a spreadsheet. I'm not going to go through all the schema here, but we're uploading where they've placed all these sensors, and these sensors are related to a device name. So this first column, the device has to match the device that's in this related thing. Well, if you know anything about uploading, it has to be spelled exactly right. There can't be leading or a space afterwards. It won't match. So you end up with blanks. And if you end up with blanks and you upload, you don't have any idea what that is. What I do, here's my spreadsheet. This right here was a spreadsheet the client gave me. And the first time I did it, there was all kinds of these that were blank. There were spelling errors, blah, blah. And then you can't tell what's what unless you're going through the spreadsheet line by line. It's a real pain. What I did instead is I just copied the first thing in my spreadsheet when you're preparing it for the CSV. Copy this, and I pasted it here with a little asterisk saying reference name. So this is just text. I'm not going to try to match this to anything. And I also created the same field in the object to which I'm uploading. So this will appear there. So what ended up happening, and we've cleaned this up a bit, so I can't show you exactly what happened, but we had a bunch of these devices that were wrong. And we had no idea at first what to tell what device it should have been. But if we upload the text, now we have a reference to what this should have been. And if it's spelled wrong or there's a space, we can determine that very quickly when these are blank. Here, it's what it should have been. Or it could be that we never entered that into the device, so it doesn't even exist. You can do a filter of show me all device names that are blank, and it's going to leave these. And it makes it a lot quicker trying to match up that data. So there's one of those. Copying an app. This is just pretty simple. If you're doing basic changes to an app that's already operational, that's usually no big deal. You can handle those. Or if it's a little more complicated, but you don't want your users using it while you're doing the changes, maybe you do it on off hours. But if you're tackling something bigger that has complex workflows, or you're changing relational data and you don't want to screw up the live app, well, copy your app. You can go to your account, copy it, call it testing or whatever. Go figure out what you got to do there. And then once you have it working right, you're going to have to rebuild it in the new app. But the time really is figuring out how to make it work. You can usually rebuild it pretty quick. Knack doesn't have a way for you to copy that content and put it in a different app. And they don't have a sandbox type of thing in the original app that you can do testing and then apply it when you're ready. I don't see that coming anytime soon. So if you got something complex, changes you're doing in an existing app, especially if it's being used. Copy it. Now here's another one. Get connected values to appear natively in your object. I'll put this in context. Let's look at this thing called service. This is programs. This is a service that a provider is providing. So a provider may provide many services, but on a certain view, we wanted to show, or we wanted, like, I'm going to give you a few examples. On some views, a detail view, for example, you can draw into related fields. You just press the arrow or press the new thing, say connections, and you go there, find it, drop it in. But there's some places you can't do that. For example, if you're trying to do an email only lets you put in native fields. If you're trying to do a display rule on a table, or some other sort of hide show rules, they only let you get to the native fields. So it doesn't do you any good. So in this case, we wanted the website of the provider that is providing the service. So here's what I did. I did a text field, and I put stars next to mine when they're behind the scenes. And I just said, hey, or a text formula. And I say, go grab the provider website. And what it does is it puts it in there. It's a text formula, so that's only going to be text. That might work some places. In this case, we want it to be a link. So I made a second field that's a link field, and I put a condition on it that says make the value of that website the value of the text formula, the drawn in. So that just changed that from text to an active hyperlink. Now this, by the way, works well with one-to-many relationships. One provider has many services, so each service could go grab that one website. If this was many-to-many, I don't think that text formula will work. It won't draw in many's. So there's that one. Another one I use frequently is form instructions. If you look at the way they do it defaulted, for me, the fonts are too big and the placement isn't quite right. It doesn't match closely to what the instructions are referring to. So with a little bit of code that you put in the code section, I'll provide this. I got two things I just copied. This one will make the instructions italics, and I usually make them a little smaller, and it's more consumable. And then on a lot of fields, let me see if I can find one right here. This is the builder, the back end, the old builder, by the way. It puts the instructions underneath, and they sometimes get lost. It looks like it's referring to something below it, not on top of it. But the second piece of code I have here, let me draw it over, right here, will put the instructions above the field you're trying to work with. So I didn't actually even do it here, but you'll see. This instruction here will go in between the title of the field and the value input. So it's all tight there. And again, if you make these italics and a little smaller, it's really going to differentiate that these are instructions. It's just not more text on the page. That one I use a lot, and the clients like it. Let's see what my last one here is. Oh, this would be quick. And I apologize, I can't recreate this right now. It happens, I can't say frequently, but it happens enough where it's useful talking about. You'll just be working along. Let's say, I'll take this one again. You're working on this form. You're adding stuff. You're formatting. Then all of a sudden, up here, a little box appears. And it says something like, oops, something went wrong. If this persists, contact support. Please refresh your browser. Well, if you refresh your browser, whatever work you've done is going to be lost. And if it's a complicated thing, you may lose a whole bunch of time. I found it's a little modal pop-up that comes up here. I think it's red. And I've experienced this, I think, in the new builder too. This is the old builder, but both. Just click off to the side, outside of the modal pop-up, and that thing will go away. And then save it. And I can't remember an instance, and this is a lot of them, that it didn't just save. That thing didn't pop up again. You know, the first several times I did it, I lost on my work until I figured, well, maybe there's another way around it. I'm basically ignoring it, and I haven't found any fallout from it. Okay, there's a few more tips that I use all the time. Hope that's useful. That's all I got for today. If you like this, you know, do the thing down there where you're liking and subscribing and ringing the bell. Appreciate it, folks. Thanks.